Hello and welcome back to the Beefy Tech channel. Today we're taking our final look, 15 minutes prior to the integration, at Mazrah performance, and I thought I'd do this specifically to compare how Mazrah in its very final state compares to the new Urzikstan map. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that for Mazrah, Resizable Bar is okay to use, and Resizable Bar boosts GPU performance. Now, for Urzikstan, chances are that Resizable Bar Off will yield better results for consistency. So I'm probably going to keep Resizable Bar Off for Urzikstan, and I'll just compare them like that. If the case is that the results are finicky, I'll turn Resizable Bar on for Urzikstan too, but the Zombies map played better with Resizable Bar Off on there. Here anyway, I'm putting it in its best possible scenario, which is Resizable Bar On, and testing the performance, and we're gonna test it right over here in the Mazrah city. And here we are in my usual spot. I'm gonna start the 1% lows and begin running forward. This would appear to be quite a good server actually, because the latency is only 22, and not only that, there don't seem to be that many people. I mean, actually it's 100 people, so it is the limit, but it seems to be a fairly decent server, no packet loss or anything shady going on, and that means we're getting pretty much what is expected around that 300 average, with maybe the 220s and the 1% lows for a 7800X3D and 4090 system. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I don't have the fancy RAM in this system, so, you know, we're a bit more GPU bound than maybe usual by like a couple percentage points, but this is pretty much the performance I've been dealing with on this MDI kit RAM with the 7800X3D this entire time, and Mazrah has been at this performance level for many months now, which is good. Consistency like that is what we like to see. Urzikstan, on the other hand, is a completely different story, and it's a whole different ballpark in terms of performance and the way it's gonna work compared to this. Let's take a look at how Urzikstan holds. As we load into a match of Urzikstan, I'm recording this at the point of where I've already played for 10 to 12 hours over the course of one night, and I'm just gonna say that the game is good. I'm enjoying it, and despite its somewhat small issues, I have no realistic complaints. Overall, I'm very satisfied with this game, and the performance actually lives up to the expectations too, because it's way better than what we saw with Zombies. In fact, the Resizable Bar problem Zombies had is pretty much gone, and I'll show you that in a moment, but we'll test out Resizable Bar Off first. What I really like about this map is that despite the very dense urban environments everywhere, there's no part of the map that is particularly 20-30 times worse than the others. That happened in Vandal pretty much everywhere, and even in Ashika Island, but in this map that's not present at all. I genuinely hope that guy that was flying is not coming for me, and seemingly not, but here we are, and this is what I declare my new testing area, because it has a nice little straight pointing directly inwards of Old Town, so middle map basically. Anyway, as you can see, if you look outside of the map in Urzikstan, you do get more FPS. But looking inwards of the map does not absolutely tank your shit, which is good, so that I am happy and satisfied with. Going over to the settings, they're identical to Mazrah settings, so the previous game settings. Full screen exclusive in 1440p native with the following settings, and one thing is actually different now for me. I use texture resolution on normal just so my guns can look a little bit better. Now yes, this Glock does not have a skin on it, but for the guns that do have a skin, texture resolution on normal loses you a very slight amount of FPS for your guns actually looking decent. As you can see, the settings are otherwise very low, with just the fidelity cast sharpening set to 80, so the game actually looks good. Let's do a test of the FPS with Resizable Bar turned off. I'm going to activate the 1% lows, and we're just going to walk forward looking inwards of Old Town, and we're going to see what the results are. And what's interesting and what I've actually noticed during my preliminary testing before actually recording the video is that Rebar Off is good, but Rebar On might be better. And I'm saying that because we're actually occasionally bouncing off of the GPU limit with Rebar turned on. I mean off, sorry, not on. On, you don't really bounce off of the GPU limit at any point, meaning that in the scenarios where you would be looking outside of the map, you would be getting more FPS. But that would also mean more FPS variance, meaning that when you look inwards of the map, you would probably get a slightly lesser amount of FPS. And, you know, that difference between more FPS on the outside and less on the inside might not feel as smooth. But we'll test that fully and we'll see. At the moment, I'm fairly satisfied with the result. It's not the most impressive result with rebar turned off, but server depends. In some other servers, I had 10-15 more FPS than this server, so I guess that could just be a little bit margin of error. But let's test Resizable Bar turned on and see if it does help over rebar off. And for those of you that still don't know about this whole turning rebar on and off situation, for NVIDIA specifically, you have to go to your File Explorer, Documents, Call of Duty, Players, and then go over to your options.4.cod23 file. And then all you're gonna have to do is pull up your keyboard, do Control F to pop up this little search bar, and then type heaps. This way, and then enter, you'll find the GPU upload heaps, which is currently set to false, which is off. If you want to enable it, all you have to do is set it to true. And that's exactly what I want to do because I want to test it on right now. And then I just have to hit save in the top left hand side. For AMD, it's a little bit different. You guys have to right click on your window, and if you're on Windows 11, then do more, and then select AMD Adrenalin. And within the GPU tuning menu, you're going to have a SAM option, which you will disable. And that's how you do it for AMD. I've tried disabling it from the config file from AMD, and it does not work how it's intended. So you guys will have to do it the other method. Alright, we are here with Resizable Bar turned on, and as you can see, looking outwards of the map, does actually show less GPU usage, showing that the GPU is performing better with Resizable Bar on. But the CPU then becomes the problem, because if I'm CPU bound, it doesn't matter that my GPU is performing better, because it's just gonna have less GPU usage. Looking inwards of the map, we see some funky results. My assumption was relatively correct, to where if you're looking inwards of the map, it would appear that you're getting a bit of a hit. Meanwhile, you're getting some gains on the outside of the map where you are less CPU bound. So, this brings an interesting proposition. Basically, it's looking okay, like the results are very similar, but I do still am getting the feeling that SAM off might be more consistent. I don't have concrete results yet to tell you guys, but I'm gonna test it a couple more times, specifically to verify that this is true and this is not just a server issue where I'm getting slightly less NV averages as a result of the server. But funnily enough, now that I'm doing this test, the 1% lows seem to be better with Resizable Bar turned on, which is definitely some very interesting results. Getting closer to the inner part of the map, the FPS has now gone down in the 270s with Resizable Bar turned on, which I did not see this with Resizable Bar turned off. We walked all the way until here, maybe even a bit further, and it was still in the 300s. So as you can see, now we're hitting the 260s to 280s, which is kind of crazy. It wasn't consistently 260 to 280, but now we're back up to 300. I didn't see this type of behavior with it turned off. I have come back here with Resizable Bar turned off yet again to do a bit of investigating. So looking on the edges of the map, you may notice that the GPU usage is sitting around 90% now, so higher than before, and the FPS is quite similar. Now we're going to look on the inner side of the map, and we're going to do the exact same test, and we're basically just going to test to see if those 260s, 270s appear yet again when we get closer to the inner side of the map. To be entirely fair with you, servers do make such a big difference to where this could all just be server variance, and yeah, there you fucking go. But as you can see right now, with Resizable Bar turned off, our 1% lows are actually showing lower. Which, yeah, it could just be servers, or it could just be, you know, public event happening. Tough to tell, because I've gotten 201% lows with rebar off on some other servers. But regardless, let's pay attention for the averages in the current FPS to see where it dips down to when we get these middle areas. So, by now, with the Resizable Bar turned on, we would have already seen some 260s, 270s. Oh, now we got a 280, 290. But it didn't actually go in the 260s, which honestly, I think that kind of just goes to show what the better option truly is. I did not see a 260, 270 in there. The lowest we saw was down to like a 285. So Resizable Bar turned off while looking inwards of the map is unironically just better. Yes, the consistency of it is wacky because the servers are making it extremely difficult to test. But look, let's do the spinning test. I'm going to stop the 1% lows entirely, and we're just going to slowly spin in a circle, and we're going to see what the FPS variance looking in various parts is. So, start the FPS, Now we just slowly move the mouse around. And as you can see, it's pretty much 300 plus around the entire area with about 191% lows in this server. Funky though, because I have seriously gotten even to 1% lows, but yeah, the server makes all of the difference in this scenario. Overall, I really like the update, I really like the integration, and I think this map and this whole integration is what this game needed. I don't mean to be like every other YouTuber out there to say that this saves Call of Duty, but Call of Duty didn't need saving, it just needed rectifying, and rectifying it got for sure. I'm gonna be playing the soul out of this game, and I'm gonna be testing the soul out of this game, so if you guys are interested in watching more of my videos that were like this one, stay tuned, like and subscribe because a lot more is coming. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.